Make this make sense to me. Leftist commentator Sam Seder couldn't even string a sentence together for why he voted for Kamala Harris in the last election, and I think it set off Patrick Bet-David and the rest of the panel for how myopic the Democrats have really become. Just take a look at this because there's so much that I need to talk about.
And you're sitting here saying you guys think you got better policies?
No, I think Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is. I mean, I think. Look, I think it was what Biden did in staying in was atrocious. He should have gotten out way earlier. Yeah. There's a story coming out now of like Ron Klain seeing him before the debate and realizing the guy was a mess. And I think Harris's campaign was also poorly run. I think that, nobody could tell what her policies were. Mark Cuban's going out there saying we're going to get rid of. Right, I agree. Mark Cuban's coming out there saying like, oh, don't worry, she's not going to do any more of this antitrust stuff. On one hand, I don't want a billionaire coming out and speaking for my candidate.
Did you vote for her? Or did you sit that one out?
No, I voted for her.
You voted for Kamala. Why? Just because you're not Trump?
Very rational.
No, hold on. What did you? I want to hold on. You voted. This is what drives me crazy about your side. You guys voted
for the lesser of two evils.
That is what policy were you going for? What do you think that she was going to do different? What can you possibly? I would rather have you sit that one out, Sam. Go ahead.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
She was not going to cut Social Security functioning. She's not going to cut the USDA. She's not going to cut the FDA. She's not going to lose us $500 billion worth of return on investment with the IRS.
Oh, my favorite boy, Sam Seder. They really never learn, do they? After an abysmal failure of the he's not Trump strategy that the Democrats used to prop up Joe Biden, are they really still running with that failed and retired political playbook? In fact, there was even a study done by political research firm AD Impact that revealed a majority of political ads that were done for Joe Biden never even featured him, his achievements, or his policy positions, but they were instead just mudslinging at his opponent. And when that strategy shifted slightly with Kamala Harris, it was too little too late. By the way, I'd love you to be a part of these important conversations we have every day, so please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss out. Now watch this incredibly cathartic rant from Vince and Oshana, because I think it channels what a lot of us feel inside.
You said you voted for someone. You're coming up with these policies. The worst pick ever, the biggest loss ever. She lost everything because your side, you're talking about people. Wait, guys, let me ask you a question. You're acting like your whole side was surprised that Biden wasn't there. Everybody knew, including you, he wasn't there at all. But you guys are like, he's just not Trump. The worst president in the history of the world in this country, 4 years, because you guys were pretending that he was all there and we knew it. And who was making all the decisions? Who was making all the decisions? Who was signing all the Who was signing off? How many times did you have to see Biden sitting there and they'd ask him a question and he'd go, oh, I can't because they told me I couldn't. He wasn't in charge.
Who?
Yeah, who was they? Come on, Sam. It's like the most devastating loss. The world, the country is over it. You guys aren't pivoting, okay? And if you think the future is Gavin Newsom, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Jasmine Crockett, you guys are doomed. Nothing is going to change.
And that's why this great awakening of the last 4 years has struck at the knee of anything the modern Democratic Party could ever hope to sell to the American people. From what many perceived as a lawfare against Trump, the response to the pandemic, the global wars and disastrous withdrawals, and of course the scandalous cover-up of Joe Biden's senility and presidency, has dented all trust to the point that even some independents this time went with the strategy of anyone but Kamala and the same old rotten establishment politicians when swinging right. And you see that reflected in the fact that Donald Trump became the first two-term president in over a century to win non-consecutive presidential terms. And it suggests that Americans at large went back to a president that they had previously rejected because they realized the alternative had nothing better to offer and, in fact, worse off. And you want a snapshot of that? Well, watch Sam's mind-numbing response to the border crisis that tells you just how out of touch he really is.
According to credible sources, what's the number you hear?
That are in the country now, or
that
actually
came
just
through
crossed?
Illegally during those 4 years.
Oh, I would imagine it's probably close to like 5, 6, maybe to 10 million.
Let's say 10 million people.
Tom Homan said 10 million.
Let's say it's 10 million. Let's say it's 10 million, but give or take 2 million. Let's just say it's 10 million, the number. Okay. Those 10 million people that are coming here, are they rich?
No. The vast majority of them, I would say,
are poor, right? Okay, that they're coming here. Who does that benefit? They're going to need jobs, right? And what are they willing to work for?
Oh, I think they're going to get exploited without a doubt if that's where you're going with this.
So let me get this straight. So who do they benefit? Do they benefit larger corporations that get cheap labor?
They benefit, yeah.
So let me get
meat
this straight.
Processing plants and whatnot. That's why I want them to have documents. Let them come to the border. Give them documents so that they can get worker protections.
So then if that's the case, you know what that validates? Joe Biden and the Democratic policies are better for the billionaires than Trump's are because they brought in cheap labor. And that cheap labor helps who? Helps the rich. When Clinton,
I am in favor of a path to citizenship that is much easier.
And by the way, those 10 million people that came here illegally, give or take.
And that was in that bill that they suggested in the fall of 2023 that Trump said he didn't want because he wanted to keep it as an issue.
Who do those 10 million people take jobs away from? Who do they take jobs away from?
I don't know that they take jobs away from that many.
Really?
No.
Really?
Worker protections and cheap labor? Sure, we could have that debate, but why is the fact that those 10 million people are inside the country illegally not put front and center? Laws are meant to protect the right incentive structures, and it's incredible that the modern Democratic Party even abandons its anti-corporatist stance when it's speaking about the illegal immigration crisis and the many labor and employment troubles it creates for the working class, basically making also these illegal immigrants slaves. And did Sam really say let them come through the border and give them documents for illegal border crossings? Is that his pretense of walking back to the center on the issue when most of the Democrat establishment and media pundits hardly even recognize what the problem is to begin with? And if you want proof of that, watch Sam Seder literally call Gavin Newsom a centrist, because it tells you where his head is at politically, man.
He's a centrist. I don't have to subscribe to what a centrist perspective. I mean, he's a centrist like Gavin Newsom is a centrist.
Gavin Newsom is a centrist?
Gavin Newsom is saying the exact same thing as Stephen A. Smith.
How? Because he realizes progressive policies have been a disaster.
Maybe it's because
he's a centrist as of a week ago when he realized progressiveness is horrible.
Maybe it's because...
Sam!
Maybe it's
you don't understand. You guys don't seem to understand.
Bizarro world.
I have a set of politics. I don't care what Stephen A. Smith does. I don't care what Gavin Newsom does.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The one thing we did learn here with you is America grew up the last 4 years.
Adam, sorry about that.
America grew up the last 4 years. Many Democrats grew up. Every state became more Republican because of the horrible policies on the left. Whether it was how they handled, what they did with our kids, how they handled people that didn't want to take the vaccine, and people were fed up. And they voted for a guy who had already been president for 4 years. So it's not like they said they want something new. They said, no, we want to go back to the guy previous to that guy. That is the biggest black eye to Obama, to Kamala, to Democrats, to everybody on the left when they went back to the guy that they said they didn't want 4 years later, saying, it's like an ex coming back and saying, babe, I messed up. I should have never gone with the other guy. You were my guy. Or guy, babe, I screwed up. I should have never left you for the other girl. I'm such a dummy. Please, Trump, come back. That's what America did.
Whew. And that should make the political establishment take a long, hard look in the mirror, because that old status quo is no longer operating inside the same set of rules that it was comfortable in. And until that recognition is made by the Democrats, rather than foisting bad candidates onto their base like they did last time, they'll keep losing with even greater margins until they meet people where they are. But tell me in the comments what you thought about this exchange, because with the way we're seeing the American political landscape shape up, we may see the impact of that realignment moving forward.